Hi everyone, and welcome back to National League Lowdown with me, Dan. Like you see, I've got my usual panel with me. I've got Craig with me. How are you doing, mate? You okay?
I'm very well, mate. How are you today?
Yeah, good, thank you. Recovered from the boredom of Tuesday night. We'll get into that down the line. Mark, how are you, mate? You okay?
Feeling good, feeling good. We're in sixth place after a 2-1 win at Southport Tuesday night. When their extraordinary tasting and looking pies, it's yeah, feeling good. Alfreton on Saturday, Spennymoor on Monday. Come on, let's get to the top of that table.
Yeah, hey, I love your optimism. Apart from the pies, obviously.
Oh
But yeah,
God.
and as you can see, we're joined by Griff tonight. Solihull Moors fan. He's got his own podcast as well. I'll let you talk about that, mate. But how are you, first of all? You all right?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure, mate. Honestly, do you want to tell us a little bit about your podcast? The name, I believe, is a very catchy one. I quite liked it.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to lay credit to coming up with a name, but that was another one of the fans' stats. Yep. So it's called More to the Point. I've got to be honest, it's a real
Excellent.
inform. Well, it's quite apt this season because we keep getting bloody points, and I might even change the name. But yeah, it's been going kind of for 18 months. It's very informal, to be honest. It started off as a little side project. As you all probably know, we haven't got the biggest fan base in the world, so I don't spend loads of times on it. But I'm trying to ramp it up a bit this season with some more interaction with other fans and the team. So yeah, it's just a bit of fun, really.
Yeah, it's a good hobby. I think football. We all love talking about it, don't we? So why not do it in the form of a podcast and interact with other fan bases and things like that?
Yeah, I think the last one I did, we did a prediction league and we went on for about 3 hours, so I had to edit it down into chunks because people just got bored of my ridiculously brummy accent drawling on at people. It's not the best accent in the world, as you can see, so if you need subtitles, just let me know.
To be fair, I think Peaky Blinders have made it a bit more cool now, haven't they? Like,
I don't think brummies will ever be cool, to be honest.
But yeah, no, it's good to have you on, mate. Obviously, good to have you here. Obviously, the reason you're here is we're trying to get as many different fans from different clubs on as possible this season. I just want to talk a little bit through about obviously what your expectations were for the season going in, and obviously you've had three, in my opinion, good results to start the season. Just how do you think the season started?
Yeah, it's been encouraging. I think every Moors fan will admit the back end of last season was a unmitigated disaster following 2 trips to Wembley the season before. I think there's a couple of reasons for that. There's the age-old excuse of injuries. Coming up towards Christmas, we had quite a few key players out, Connor Wilkinson and Jack Stevens up front in particular. And we had to bring in people on short-term contracts, loans. Matt Taylor came in after Andy Wing took the job at Barrow. And sometimes it was like picking formations and players out of bingo balls. It was just a nightmare. So he's had a full pre-season now. The board have backed him with some what I think are decent signings. So it's been encouraging. Forest Green game, we were down to 10 men after 4.5 minutes, so that was a decent point. Sutton was a bit disappointed, never got going. To be fair, Sutton pressed really well. We never got comfortable. And then Dan, obviously, you would have watched Tuesday's game. I thought we were good value for a point. Played some decent football. Maybe up front we're lacking that bit of cutting edge at the minute, as we said before the podcast. The goal came from a mistake, but nicely taken by Dan Creaney. So yeah, if you would have offered me 3 points out of those games, I would have took it.
Yeah, like I say, mate, I think, especially Tuesday night, obviously I watched the game and I thought you were very solid defensively. There was bodies on the line at times, throwing themselves in front of shots,
Yeah.
especially late on when we were pushing for a winner. Massive credit to you, the keeper. He liked to come and catch the ball and take his time and knew when to go down and things like that. And I was like, I love all that. I love all the dark arts and stuff. Like, even though it was against my team, I'm a big fan of that. Do you think that's something that Matty Taylor's perhaps installed into them?
I think we had a fans forum a couple of weeks ago, and one of Matt Taylor's kind of key points to take away is we're going to have a team that are going to work and give 100%. And it seems compared to last season, the team spirit seemed a bit low. I think when players are coming through around a turnstile, it's quite hard to get a team spirit going. This season seems a lot better. And as you say, we've got some players that are, they're proper old footballers, and they will throw the bodies in front of anybody. In particular, Alex Whitmore at the back, the ginger-haired centre half.
Yeah, great sign.
Absolutely outstanding. Against Forest Green, I actually interviewed him after the game, and he just had a red mark on his head because I don't think he lost a header all game.
I don't think he did on Tuesday either. I don't think he did on Tuesday.
Absolutely, Stan. I've got to have a word with the commentators though, because he kept calling him Alex Whitemore. That really did made him all game Alex White. When you scream at the TV. But yeah, so I think the camaraderie in the team, they're all working for each other at the minute, and it seems a good feeling down there at the minute. So long may it continue.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, like I said to you before we went live, I thought the fans that were there, the few that did travel, never stopped singing all game. Some of the chants were funny as well, saying how rubbish we must be because you're winning away from home and things like that. And it's just all stuff I was laughing my head off at, because I'd be singing it if I was in that stand doing the exact same. So, no, it was really good. And what you mentioned about Dan Creaney as well, I thought, obviously took his goal well, and I think if you can get more service to him, he will just score bags of goals for you. But I think that was the key part that was maybe it was missing for both sides, I think, on Tuesday night, that final pass. I think once the ball got in the danger area, the chances came, but it was getting the ball into the danger area.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I think he got 19 for Tamworth last season. He scored an absolute screamer in pre-season. He's an old-fashioned centre-forward that, as you say, if you give him the service, he'll score goals for fun. And that's maybe the one area. I think defensively we're going to be solid. At the minute, I just can't see us. Not that you do in this league, but I can't see us, giving someone a 3-0, 4-0 thrashing. I think we can get to some comfortable wins, but I think that'll be built from the back as opposed to scoring goals for fun, which teams like Rochdale seem to be doing at the minute.
Griff, I'm not going to put too fine a point on this, but the Solihull fans seem very, very divided about Matt Taylor. I mean, some think he's all right, and others think he's about as popular as typhoid. Why is that? What has Matt Taylor done to cause this split, if you will?
That's a really good question. I think it's always hard coming into a team when you've been to Wembley twice the season before. Andy Wing's a local lad. He lives about 500 yards from where I live. He's a good pal of mine. He was very popular down the moors. He'd stay for a beer and stuff like that. So I think it's always hard replacing someone like that. I think secondly, football's a results-driven game, isn't it? We didn't get the results under Matt Taylor, and some of the performances, he will admit himself, weren't good enough. He, again, in the fans forum he had a couple of weeks ago, even he admitted some weeks he didn't know who he was picking because of injuries or players coming out. And I think the second one, and I've met Matt a couple of times, and he's a real nice bloke, loves his football, but I think he's a real big family man. And I think he still lives down kind of Oxford way. So maybe the interaction with the fans wasn't there last season. So nobody really got to know him. Whereas Wingy, despite being a family man, was a lot more accessible, living, 5 minutes drive from the ground. I think this year Matt's been a lot more open with the fans, a lot more accessible, a lot more chatty. So hopefully those people that are against him will come round and, again, our forum is not the biggest forum in the world, but people that weren't his biggest fan have appreciated so far what he's done and the style of play this season. So hopefully that's on the turn, but you guys know better than me. It's just such a results-driven business. We could lose the next three and they hate him again.
That's football. That's football for you.
I hate to quote the bloke, but it's a fun old game, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, for me with Matt Taylor as well, like I say, results-driven business, and it's the same for any manager. He probably knows that as well, that he's maybe 2 bad results away from being public enemy number one, but he's also 2 results away from being flavour of the month and everyone's favourite manager.
Exactly.
Which is kind of a good thing, because then they're not surprised when it happens. You know, they're not too disappointed when they're not liked and things. They think, well, it was bound to come. It's the circle of life. It's bound to happen. But obviously, I just wanted to ask you as well, what would be a good season in your eyes? Like, what was your expectations before the season started, and have they changed over the last 3 games?
They've changed a little bit. So I think in the prediction we did on our podcast, I think I had us down as 10th. I was thinking kind of mid-table. I'm slightly more encouraged after the results and some of the football we've played, to be honest, in the game Tuesday night and at the game against Forest Green. So I'd like to think we could stretch the playoffs, but it's going to be hard because, let's face it, there's going to be York, Forest Green, yourselves, Carlisle, Rochdale. Those are the 4 that I see competing for the title. Then you're going to have the likes of Hartlepool. Eastleigh has spent a lot of money. I know they've had a bit of a up and down start to the season. My surprise team for the season was Woking. So when we get to the predictions, just take mine with a pinch of salt, because obviously I know bugger all. So yeah, I think you kind of, the top 4, I think, will be pretty set as time goes by, and then I think we might be one of the teams in with a mix of a playoff shout, but I envisage mid-table for us. But
yeah, I think it's a strong league this year as well, mate. I think there's so many sides, but the one thing that you mentioned there was them 4 teams, and I think pretty much everybody, when they were predicting the season, had them 4 teams up there. From what I've seen from Carlisle so far, I'm not entirely convinced by my predictions so far. I'm hoping I've got it wrong, and I'm hoping I got them right, and I'm wrong now what I'm saying. But I
think you've got more points than Barnet had at the start of last season, and they went up quite convincingly. So,
well, that makes me feel better, mate. You can come back on, definitely.
Yeah, just looking at the predictions for this year, I've just quickly managed to get ours up. So I'm just going to throw Dan under the bus a little bit here while we've got you. Myself had you in 8th. Callum, our social media, had you in 9th. And Mark had you in 11th. So we kind of all were in similar boats to yourself, and probably maybe not as good as them top teams you've discussed, but not really in any real danger. And with a bit of luck, good with injuries, those kind of things, you could be pushing the playoffs. Dan slightly disagreed on that, I'd say, and had you as low as 19th. So I think seeing you in person the other day has probably changed that for him, but I thought I'd get that quickly.
In my defence,
go on, Dan, and go.
In my defence, I was looking at the form of the back end of last season. There was a lot of people not liking the manager. I know you'd signed Dan Creaney, which did kind of make me think, but that was my reasoning. But from what I've seen, especially on Tuesday night, obviously because I watched the full game, I'm obviously going to be wrong with that. But I'm also very rubbish at predictions anyway. So again, whatever your pinch of salt would be, take mine with the full like 5 kilograms of sacks of salt. Them ones. But yeah, so apologies if I've got that wrong.
That in there for you, Dan.
Yeah, thanks, Craig. Thanks, Craig. Can someone kick Craig out the chat?
We'll always back you on things like that, Dan. Don't you worry.
It's all right. We'll get to Truro shortly, Mark. Don't worry. We'll get to Truro shortly.
I might have microphone problems then.
But yeah, like I said, that was my reasoning. But I am very adamant that I'm very wrong with that from what I've seen. So, and I'm man enough to admit when I've made a mistake. So,
no, fair play to you. It's the one thing we will struggle in is on squad size. So I think, as Craig has said, if we get a few injuries, we're going to struggle. Connor Wilkinson's already out for a bit. I think he went over against Sutton last weekend, and apparently this week he can't even walk, and he's done his hip or something. So we already look a bit threadbare, but we'll wait and see. There's another 45 games to go, isn't there? So
that's it. It's a long season. It's hard to predict, but yeah, I had a feeling that was going to crop up, so I was prepared. But yeah, like I say, predictions are tough anyways. But like if you have that season that you're saying there, you're expecting, obviously they'd be happy with that. Matt Taylor will be a bit more popular, hopefully, with the fans, and then you can build on that as well, can't you, for next season?
Yeah, I think so. I think the fans would take, they definitely take playoffs. Who wouldn't? But yeah, I think mid-season and then see if we can push on from there. But yeah, we just need a few more players through the door.
Yeah.
Has the departure of Jack Stevens affected Solihull a lot? Would you say, has he been easy to replace, but in the finding somebody and hoping they'll turn it on sense of the word?
Yeah, I think we're going to miss someone of Jack's quality. On his day, he's unplayable, and he scored some real crucial goals. I think the one thing where we're not going to miss him is Matt Taylor's obviously decided he's changed the way he's playing. So I think in the midfield, Jack tends to play wide on the left. We're a lot more narrow in midfield. I think we'll probably end up playing 5 at the back with kind of 3 or 4 in the midfield. So we play a lot narrower through the middle at the minute with the likes of Worman and Osborne. So yeah, it's going to be hard to replace his goals, but hopefully Dan Creary will come in. Connor Wilkinson will
I
chip
rate
in
Dan Creaney, really do.
Connor
As you say,
Wilkinson's a great little player when he's bloody fit. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean,
was
as you say, Dan Creaney's an old school centre forward. I mean, I support Macclesfield, and we played Tamworth in the FA Cup last season, and he was just bustling about Tom Tonks with his with the lethal weapon throw-ins. Thought, aha, there he is. Do you think something in the lines of a Tom Tonks would benefit him more, or is that not Solihull's style, if you will?
Generally, not. That's not our style. But we brought in a lad called Brad Nicholson from Boston, who you may have seen play last season, and he's got a ridiculous throwing, almost the same as Tom Tonks. So against Sutton, we used that far too many times. We need a plan B when it comes to throw-ins inside the area. So we have got that type of weapon.
You used some long throws on Tuesday night as well, mate. I noticed.
Yeah, so it would have been Nicholson, the big. I think he's number 6. But a story about him, he was playing for Boston last season. So when we played them at home, he came over, he's got the man bun, all the tattoos, pink boots. Oh. So I'm giving him absolutely loads of stick. You must be a good player to wear all that, blah, blah, blah. This is in the first minute. Takes the throw in, lands it on their centre forward's head, and he scores. And he just turned round, gents, and just went, give it the big and to Miles. So yeah, it was interesting meeting him. I remember you giving me loads of shit last year. Yeah, nice to meet you. And you should see his dad as well. He's absolutely huge, so I'll never be slagging him off again.
we live and learn. We live and learn.
Yeah. So in answer to the question, we have kind of got a replacement for Tonks' throwing for Tamworth. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But the thing is, it just becomes really predictable. It really did against Sutton. So yeah, we need to think of a plan B there.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I say, I think we dealt with your long throws quite well the other night. I think, like I say, because even in the second half, we started doing it, and we never really do long throws, and it was as if we were just trying to play that way to combat the way you were playing, and it just ended up being a really, in my opinion, like a really drab game of football that was obviously, it come to life because of a mistake. We may as well cover this game now before we go into the next lot of games. But obviously, Carlisle-Solihull, Tuesday night, 1-1. Disappointing from a Carlisle perspective, personally. We didn't really turn up in the first half. It was very much like Boreham Wood, where they got booed off at half-time. There was no creativity. Regan Linney was getting marked out the game, and we had no answer for it whatsoever. Solihull defended well, kept the ball well, moved the ball well in transition as well, I thought. When they went forward, Breeze had a couple of saves to make. There was one that was offside, but he didn't know that, and it was a really good save. Then, obviously, second half, the Josh Grant pass across midfield, when our centre-back was injured as well, was just crazy to me. And obviously, Worman, I think, took the ball, played Creaney in. Great finish. I was really impressed with Worman, actually. I thought he played really well.
Great player.
Yeah, really good player, and got back and defended as well. I thought as well. Arguably probably my man of the match. I thought he was outstanding. Him and the centre half. I thought both of them were very, very good. But yeah, and then obviously Carlisle got back into it. Terrell Thomas took his goal well. But I think overall, from in my perspective, a point was a fair result. Would you agree with that, mate, or anything else?
No, I think they've summed it up perfectly. Yeah, I thought 1-1 draw was fair. The Creaney offside in the first half, I personally didn't think was offside.
I haven't seen it back, but it looked tight. Like at the game, it looked tight.
I thought it was onside. But the keeper made a great save anyway, so that neither here nor there. You guys seem really ponderous, kind of coming out from the back, and just didn't get it going the first half. Second half, I think, as you just alluded to, you went a bit more direct. We were fortunate from not only the pass across the back, but with your centre half being injured, you just couldn't catch up with Creaney. And with all due respect to Dan Creaney, he's not the quickest to catch up, so you could tell that kind of benefited us.
Yeah.
I was disappointed in your goal. I thought we defended really well, especially from corners, picking everyone up. The one time you don't do it, you get punished. And then I've got to say, the goal at the end, where the ref blew up for a foul on the keeper, I've seen the replay, and it looks like Walks actually drops the ball. Now, other people have told me it was for a handball against the centre half as he comes in. He's got his hand. You can't really tell, so I think we kind of got out of jail maybe there. I think in all fairness, 1-1 draw was fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, just alluding to what you said there about Mugabe challenging the keeper, I was right behind it. We were right behind the goal. It looked very soft, but I did say as well, looking at a balance perspective, if it was in the other net, I'd be shouting for it. So
you'd be screaming for it,
it was one of them. I think it was soft, and I do think it kind of went in off his arm a little bit as well. So it depends what they gave it for. But for me, it was soft, but it would have been daylight robbery if we took 3 points at the end after the way the game had played out.
Yeah, I would have been livid, but I think draw was fair result, and then that's our third on the trot now, so we need to start winning a few.
Yeah, I mean, again though, 3 points after 9 games is not bad, especially when you consider who you've played as well in there.
Yeah, and considering we've got York and Southend coming up as well in there, we've got Aldershot Saturday, Altrincham on Monday, and then we play Southend at home, and then I think we've got York next. So we need to get a few points because it's you know what it's like in this league. You lose, well, obviously you don't yet, do you, Dan?
Not really.
You can lose 2-3 on the trot, and you drop right down there. And when you get down there, it's a horrible place to get out of. So
yeah, no, like I say, massive credit to Solihull fans as well on Tuesday night, like I've said before, but didn't stop singing all game, all 38, 40 of them or whatever it was. Massive credit to them. Craig, what did you make of the Carlisle result, mate?
Yeah, so I am. The biggest thing I can say is this is probably the biggest welcome that Carlisle probably needed. These last 7 days have shown exactly what the National League is to them. There's no easy games. They've had Boreham Wood and Solihull at home, which, if football's played on paper, is quite an easy 6 points without being disrespectful for them two teams. And if anything, they're lucky to have 2 from it. So that shows the National League. It might be a blessing in disguise to them that it's come this early in the season, and they can knuckle down and show eventually what they've got. But yeah, welcome to the National League.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, mate. I think they're very lucky to have got a couple of points out of them games. Mark, what did you make of the Carlisle-Solihull result, mate?
Well, results like that will make any manager look at their players and think, are some of them really up to it? You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, the expectation with Carlisle is huge. We've gone over that before, but with huge expectation does come a huge back down to earth when you do get a result such as the Solihull one. I mean, we talk about Dan Crane. You're going to come up against players like that a lot in this league, and if you've got to have a plan. You've got to have a plan. The fact that Carlisle then started mimicking Solihull sort of tells you that Hughes was thinking, to be like Solihull, we've got to play like Solihull. So you can credit Solihull for making them think like that. But a bump in the road, but get too many of them, and our predictions are going to look pretty weak.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest alarm bell I said before we went live was that Mark Hughes come out after the game and said he was pleased with how we played. That was an alarm bell for me. I was really worried about that because I said I get that managers aren't going to come out and call players out and stuff. I get all that. I've watched enough football. I know how it all works, but I'm not expecting him to come out and say he was pleased with how it went. The amount of comments on social media that were like, "Oh, was he at a different game? What was he watching?" And then this is how fan bases start to turn their views, like we mentioned about Matt Taylor before. And it's like a couple of bad results and people start turning and questioning things, and then like you say, a couple of bad results again, and it can all spiral out of control. So Carlisle need to get a grip of this, in my opinion, quickly and start picking up some wins if they're going to be anywhere near the top this season. That's enough about Carlisle, anyways. I'm depressed now. I'm depressed now.
Monday night, mate. So Monday afternoon we come to you, so that'll be a win for you. Don't worry about it.
Famous last words. We'll talk about that when we come to Halifax. Actually, Altrincham versus Hartlepool on Tuesday night. Obviously, Altrincham. A lot of people. I think I predicted them to win. Actually, in my predictions, Hartlepool come out 2-0 winners. We talked about the importance of Alex Reid getting the penalty in the game previous and just maybe getting on a bit of a run. And then he scored. Obviously, Mark, I'll come to you first. What did you make of this result, mate?
It's beginning to show, isn't it? The lack of Regan Linney and Alex Newby. It is beginning to show because those are goals that were being put in the back of the net. I mean, if those two had stayed at Altrincham, then it would have, you would have been looking at a 2-2 draw, maybe a 3-2 win. But Alex Reid, overlooked by a lot of clubs, and he's always been a player with a point to prove. And I think he's now going to be in a team where he can prove that point. And there's going to be a lot of disappointed clubs thinking, should have taken that chance. But Hartlepool, yeah, very good. They've got a goal scorer. The Altrincham faithful were keeping an eye on James Gale. He hasn't quite hit the ground running yet, but he's a very good player, but he hasn't got that Alex Newby with him, and that is the thing. I mean, when you had two strikers like Newby and Linney clicking the way they did, then that's always important. If one wasn't scoring, the other one will. But Altrincham haven't got anybody scoring up front, and they need to get that done quickly.
Yeah, it's a big worry.
Otherwise, they'll be having a few more defeats like that.
Yeah, it's a big worry, isn't it? And obviously, it's still early days, but a couple more results like that, and again, things start to spiral and get out of control. Griff, what did you make of the Altrincham Hartlepool result, mate?
Yeah, well, I think Mark's kind of summed it up quite well, really. It's really hard, and fair play to Walty. They've got this kind of conveyor belt of people that they bring out, the likes of Newby, the likes of Linney, Con Clark, Ollie Crankshaw before him. And as soon as you lose those types of players, you're going to struggle. And if in this league you don't have someone that's going to score your goals, you're in trouble. Alex Reid, ex-Moors, I had a sneaky feeling that he might turn up back down Damson Park this year. But I think when we signed Creaney, that put pay to that. And you touched on James Gale as well, Mark. We had him on loan from Mansfield last season. Can be a great player, but another one, you can't keep him fit. When he plays, he can be unstoppable. He had started last season. He had 2-3 great games for us, but trying to keep him fit is a nightmare. So, yeah, wasn't surprised with that, to be honest. I think Hartlepool are going to be up and around there in the playoffs.
Tough to beat.
Yeah, tough side to beat. Craig, what did you make of this result, mate?
Yes, obviously we played Hartlepool Saturday, and what I said is they're very hard to beat. They will run and run and run, and they will beat you. They will beat you to the ground, and now they've got a striker that will take the chances. If you'd have said to them after 3 games, they've got 7 points, haven't conceded the goal yet, they'd bite your hand off, and that's the position they're in. So they'll be absolutely delighted with how they've started. The question is now is, can they add on top of it, keep it up and keep him scoring? And then the playoffs is definitely within reach of them if they can keep this going.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I think obviously talk about predictions. I'm sure I had Hartlepool just sneaking in the playoffs. I think on my predictions, but it's
Your
been
predictions don't matter, mate. You said that earlier.
Yeah, they don't matter. So we all, and that takes us really nicely onto our next one. So our next game was Boston-Halifax, and we sat here as a 4 with Ethan, the Yeovil supporter, and we all unanimously predicted a Boston United win. And I jokingly said at the end, 1-0 Halifax incoming at the end. And what happened? Halifax won. So yeah, obviously, again, Halifax have had a bad start. They've got off to they've obviously got the season started now. Mark's favourite goalkeeper with a clean sheet as well. Craig, what did you make of this result, mate?
Yeah, so we were all eating a little bit of humble pie come Tuesday night. I was jumping between this game and the Carlisle-Solihull one on the zone, and Halifax seemed to control it. Give them a lot of credit because Boston's a very hard place to go. They were the complete opposite of Solihull at the end of the season. They were flying. They were about 3rd in the form table, and it felt like that was going to kick into this season with their result in their first game. Obviously, this was only their second game, and Halifax just stifled them and then looked the better side, took their chance, and then lovely game management from them. And now they've got through that tricky 3-game away spell they're starting with at home Saturday, and it feels like that might be the catalyst for the start of their season. Unlike a team like Woking, which have now got another defeat, Halifax have got off the board, and that might be the start of them climbing back up the table, because it's very hard to judge the table after 3 league games.
Yeah, I agree with Halifax. I think that could be like the starter point for them now. They'll try and blank out the first 2, start the season here, and move on from there. Griff, what did you make of the Boston-Halifax result, mate?
Yeah, I had this one down as a bit of a boring kind of draw, to be honest. As Craig said, Boston were outstanding. The latter part of last season, and to be fair, they were unlucky to lose at our place. But they have lost a few players, including 2 to us, with Nicholson and Green making the move. So I do fear they might have a bit of second season syndrome at this level. Hopefully their crowds and the money that generates, or they'll is it Coughlin, their manager?
Graham Coughlin.
Yeah, Graham Coughlin. Who I rate, he's got a decent track record. I think they'll need to bring some fresh faces in. Halifax, I don't know too much about, but as again Craig has said, started off with 3 away days, which is always hard. But I do worry about their home pitch, even though they've had this all new singing and dancing one. They're going to have 4 teams playing on it over the winter, because I think there's going to be 2 rugby league teams playing there, Halifax and somebody else. So
one of the Huddersfield teams, I think.
Yeah, so I think that's going to take its toll on that pitch. So I don't know if they've fixed the problem just to make it even worse, but we'll wait and see.
We'll wait and see. But no, I agree with what you both say there about obviously Halifax, and they've had a tough start, but they've obviously turned the corner, I think, in that game. Mark, obviously we'll come to you now. Obviously your favourite goalkeeper, Sam Johnson, with a clean sheet.
Yeah. Form is temporary, class is permanent. Yeah, but the result surprised me. The result did surprise me. I mean, Boston doing as well as what they could do, but it takes a defeat sometimes to actually get you going again. And Graham Coughlin will have them organised over the bank holiday weekend. But again, I'm a fan of Adam Lakeland. I like him as a manager, ex-Curzon, ex-Kings Lynn, and yeah, Sam Johnson. There'll be more clean sheets from where that came from, because I do think he is the best in the league, without doubt.
As soon as I seen the clean sheet, I noted it down. I was like, Mark's got it right. Mark's got it right.
Only thing I've got right.
We'll come to our predictions later on, but yeah, I'm
boy,
having a nightmare
can
as well.
I go then?
Next out, we've got Tamworth 2, Truro 0. I'm going to come straight back to Mark. Obviously, for context, Griff, a bit similar with predictions at the start of the season. Me, Craig, and Callum all had Truro in and around the danger zone, potentially going down. I think if I'm right, Craig, Mark had Truro finishing 9th. 8th. Yeah, so obviously he's kind of the spokesman for Truro on the podcast at the moment. So, what did you make of this result, Mark?
I can't justify it. How the hell am I meant to justify it? Even John Askey has now come out and said, we need to get something done quickly. I mean, Tamworth's a hard place to go. It really is. We had the aforementioned Tom Tonks, and I think Manny Doku's there now as well, isn't he?
He is,
Yeah.
was with us at the back end of the season.
Yeah, but no, John has accounted for this. He's not gonna leave it for another 5 to 6 games. He said he needs to do something about it. And I'm looking just a bit stupid at the moment, but it'll be all right. It'll be fine. But Tamworth's a place to go. I mean, I think a lot of teams, just wait until the likes of Rochdale and Eastleigh and York and Southend get down there, Carlisle, and they're not going to have a great time. But yeah, come on, Truro, don't leave me this way.
Yeah, I think it'll be. It's still early days. So I think
Of course it is.
Yeah, exactly. Like things can turn. Things could turn. I agree. I'm not looking forward to Carlisle going down there, but luckily we don't have to worry about that till April. So the season might be all gone by then. Might not matter. But yeah, Griff, what did you make of the Tamworth Truro result, mate?
Yeah, it surprised me, to be honest. I thought Truro would be better than they were. One of our regular fans lives kind of down that way. And on the podcast we did for our prediction league, he was quite upbeat about their chances. Especially with someone like John Askew in charge of them. But yeah, they've had a tough start to the season. Tamworth, they're going to be tough to beat. They're not going to play you off the park with football. They are a big, strong physical side, a lot like we were at the back end of last season. And they will grind out results. And with a weapon like Tom Tonks' throwing, which is as good as a corner, they're always going to create chances. Up front, they're going to miss Creamer. But yeah, decent start for Tamworth. Galls me to say, it's probably been our local rivals. But yeah, it surprised me a bit. I'm disappointed in how poor Truro have been so far.
Yeah, I think with Tamworth as well, I think any team that, like that, their home form's going to be huge. Like that, they're going to. Not many teams, in my opinion, will go down there and win comfortably this season, if any. I think it'll be a tricky place for most people to go. Like even if it's just for the long throw itself, people will have to be on the guard for that. So yeah, I think for me, Tamworth, that's a big win for them. Obviously, I know a lot of people have tipped them to struggle this season. So when beating teams that are also potentially going to be down there, it's huge, isn't it? Even early on, it's a huge marker to put down, and I think it's really important. So yeah. Craig, what did you make of the Tamworth Truro game, mate?
Not too much to add, really. They had a tough start with Scunthorpe and Southend. Obviously, had 0 points. Had to win at home to Truro, found a way, and I think, as you said, that may be their way. Not anything vintage, not anything pretty, but win at home, especially against the teams that are expected to be down there. And the chances are you're going to pick up enough points in other games, and you'll probably be all right. I do still have them to go down. I haven't seen enough to convince me at the moment, but these are the kind of games that will convince me. They will stay up eventually if they pick up more of these. You expect them to lose away at Southend. You expect them to win at home to Truro. They've done both of those. Yeah. Truro, at the minute, it feels like it could be a really long season for them. They're probably, for me, out of the 23 teams we've seen so far, they're the 23rd team. They've struggled a little bit. I think Brackley have been a little bit more impressive than them. And I think we all probably bet Truro to actually finish a little bit higher than Brackley. But Brackley have seemed to be competitive. But size of squad for Truro as well probably played a factor. That the energy they put into their legs probably against York and nearly getting something there to then having to play again 3 days later, they probably weren't physically fully recovered, and Tamworth just walked all over them, and it was as confident 2-0 as you see. And for Tamworth, a start for Truro, don't start panicking just yet.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Like I say, I think maybe another couple more results like that, the panic might start kicking in. It's still early days.
Keep the
But we'll
faith.
see.
Keep the faith.
Keep the faith in John Askey, as Mark would say.
Oh, yeah.
And then the last game of Tuesday night was Woking versus Wealdstone. Wealdstone absolutely flying. 3 wins out of 3. Joint top of the league with Rochdale, and deservedly so. Craig, I'll come to you for this one, mate. What did you make of this game?
Yeah, so this evening we've got a little bit of flack that we're not mentioning them enough. Well, we had Max Kretschmar on the podcast the other day, who scored the opening goal in this game, and just listening to him and the belief they had it inside their camp and everyone pulling in the same direction is probably ultimately why they've got 3 wins, 9 points so far. That there seemed to be a really good togetherness. We all expect them not to stay up there. But I was talking to someone the other day. If 50 points is what's going to keep you up, or just over 50, they're nearly a fifth of the way there after 3 games. They can't be any more delighted with their start. Some tough games coming up. Carlisle Saturday, but every game's tough, and just keep ticking them off for them. Hit the 3 points off when you get them, and a fantastic start. Woking, the complete opposite, really. 0 at the moment. Again, similar to Truro, though, don't panic yet, but start having those little looks of what can we do. They seem toothless going forward again. I know they managed to grab 1 goal, I think, in the end, but they didn't look ultimately like they were going to trouble Wealdstone, which again could be credit to Wealdstone, but 0 from 3 from them. Don't panic, but maybe start having a look round and see who you can bring in to just raise the morale and raise the morale in the fan base as well, because you don't want people turning on you, because it can be horrible for them.
Yeah.
But they'll be all right. I'm quietly confident they'll be all right.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. Griff, what did you make of this result, mate?
Yeah, another one that surprised me. I would have said it was a Woking banker all day, but Wealdstone have had an absolutely corking start, so all credit to them. Woking, I think they were unbeaten since Christmas in the league. I think it was about 17 games they went or something unbeaten under Neil Ardley. I thought they recruited well in the summer. I like the signing of Tim Akinola, the midfielder. But yeah, just haven't got started. But I agree with Craig. They haven't really got anyone that stands out up front, that guy that's going to go and get you 15, 20 goals a season, which is so important this level. But yeah, it's still a bit of a surprise for me that Wealdstone did so well, but all credit to them. It's, I'm a bit biased, kind of coming from one of the supposedly smaller teams in this league. I like to see the underdogs do well. So
yeah, it's been a cracking start. It's been a cracking start for them, and I think even by their expectations, Max was on here and obviously talked glowingly about the positivity in the camp and stuff. But I think if you'd offered them at the start of the season 3 wins out of 3, I think even they would have probably been like, wow, that's the best start obviously possible. And I think Carlisle at home. They've got Carlisle at home on Saturday. They'll fancy the chances. They really will on Saturday. So yeah, great start for them. Mark, what did you make of this result, mate?
Excellent. I mean, who listens to people who make predictions? But yeah, I said at the very start about Woking, unconvincing last season and unconvincing now. They're just like a piece of dry toast, just nothing there. And yeah, and it's just as Griff pointed out. I mean, they got Tim Akinola, who was at Chesterfield, Luke Hall, who Mac knew all about, signing from Worksop. I was really looking forward to seeing him perform in this league, and nothing. As I say, they're just the dry toast club at the moment. Just absolutely nothing will convince you to do something with it. But yeah, good on you, Wealdstone. I mean, we practically condemned them from the very off, and this is how you answer your critics. 9 points out of 9. If they can get a mid-table, if they just keep that spirit going that they seem to have, why not? And I think Max appearing on this podcast seems to be the catalyst of all that.
There you go.
There
That's
you
it. So Wealdstone fans, it's all on us.
Yeah, and Griff will be up front for Solihull on Saturday.
yeah. So that was obviously Tuesday night's games. We'll move into Wednesday. We've got Aldershot 2, Eastleigh 3. Eastleigh season eventually getting started as well. Aldershot losing the third game in a row in the league, 3-2. Craig, I'll come to you first, mate. What did you make of this one?
If you keep conceding that many goals, it doesn't matter what else you do. Aldershot have had a defensive problem for years. They got bailed out by some excellent attacking options in Josh Stokes and Talaj, I believe it was, who was there a few years ago. They never really replaced them last year. Doesn't look like they've got the replacements too much this year, and they're just leaking goals. And although they're probably actually higher up in the table than Woking at the moment, because they've conceded 9 goals in 3 games, the alarm bell should be going off there now for me. They've scored 6 goals in 3 games and not got a single point to show for it. Alarm bells there, 100% for me. Eastleigh, pleased to see Aaron Blair get off the mark. He's obviously someone we've talked highly of. Obviously, I've seen him for about 18 months at Braintree as well. Fantastic player. If you'd have told me Aaron Blair scored, I'd have basically talked you through the goal. That was a vintage Aaron Blair goal. That was exactly how he scored 20, 30 for us over the time he was with us. Just runs in behind, instinctive finish. And he deserves it because no one will work harder in that forward line than him for Eastleigh. Excellent from them, but they let Aldershot back in. So the job's not done there. Just because they've got a win doesn't mean it's all going to be rosy there, because they have to shore up as well. And a red card to one of their strikers, McCallan, right towards the end for a silly one on the goalkeeper. Will that come back to bite them as well? But yeah, they're up and running. Yeah,
definitely. Mark, what did you make of this one, mate?
said at the start of the season, what's the priority, Aldershot? Do they want to do well in the league, or do they want to secure the FA trophy? And it seems that the capabilities are neither, because they will. Yeah, it's strange because they're leaking goals, and Mac signed one of their defenders, Rolin Menyezi, last season, and the Aldershot fans weren't happy about him leaving. But it just seems like they've done absolutely nothing to fix that problem. You know, they're going to leak goals and forget doing well in the league and the and defending the FA trophy. They could be in a bottom 4 scramble there. Eastleigh, they needed to do it. Again, they've leaked goals as well. Bit silly of Paul McCallum. He knows better than that. He's an experienced striker, and you will miss him. They will miss him up front for 3 games for a straight red. But Aaron Blair, we did say, he was one to watch, and he's off and running. But big problems at Aldershot, and if Eastleigh, Nick Townsend and Aaron Pierre, if they've got to show their experience, they can't afford to let too many goals in either. But Aldershot, your priorities have just changed.
Yeah,
Aldershot have scored as many goals this season as Wealdstone, by the way. So that says it all defensively.
It does say it all. You're right. Griff, anything you want to add to that one, mate, before we move on?
No, I think the boys have covered it. Typical Eastleigh performance. We're going to score more goals than you. They've invested a lot of money over strikers the last few years, but don't really give a toss about conceding. Aldershot seem to be in all sorts of problems at the back. And long may that continue, because we've got them Saturday. So I hope, all the best to them on Sunday.
Yeah. Obviously, Craig, I'll come to you for this one. Boreham 2, Braintree 1. You were obviously there on Wednesday night. How did the game go? Obviously, Luke Norris getting 2 goals again, on fire at the moment.
Yeah, so Boreham started the better side. They won a penalty for, I believe it was a handball. It's right down the far end, so it was difficult for me to see. But as I said to you boys before we come on, that's a penalty every single game we've given away now. So first game, it didn't matter. It was at 3-0 last minute. This time it's been the last 2 games, away games, it's been the opening goal against us. So worrying signs, maybe with a lack of concentration or just maybe a little bit of luck in there as well. But hopefully that stopped on Saturday, giving away penalties. Marley Marshall Miranda, I've got to give him a mention in the midfield for Braintree. He was the best player on that pitch by an absolute mile. And he scored a goal about 20 yards out. I don't think the zone have released the highlights for this one yet, but I'm got to be honest, I was shocked that it was given because Akinde was in an offside position about 14 yards out, clearly impacting the goalie's vision. It's gone right through the goalie. So I was delighted at the time to get through it, and it was given, but for me, it should have been disallowed. We then came out second half, and I thought we were outstanding for 10 minutes. Missed a couple of half chances. I don't think any of them were clear cut. Boreham would then turn the screw, and 2 minutes later, Norris scores a delightful header, just comes across the box and just heads it back where it come from. Experienced striker's finish. And it knocked us for 6. Frankie Terry got sent off about 10 to 15 minutes later. And Boreham Wood just controlled the game. Talking about game management, I don't think there was any time management in there. It was just sheer game management. They kept the ball. They let Braintree have it at the back. They knew when to pin Braintree, when to press. They were excellent, Boreham Wood, in them aspects. Would I say they're the best footballing team I watched this season? They won't be. But it's just that. The minute we went down to 10 men, they knew what to do. They knew how to keep us pinned, how to keep us under pressure, and how to walk away with the 3 points. And
yeah, I mean, that's an art in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, and to couple that with their extra point they got on Saturday, which obviously, when I mean extra point, I mean one they probably didn't expect to get, which was fully deserved as well. They'd be delighted with their start coming back up here.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. Mark, what was your thoughts on this result, mate?
Luke Norris. I mean, they lost Tyrone Marsh to Bedford in pre-season. He's scoring now for Bedford in the National League North. They needed to get somebody of sheer quality, and Luke Norris's quality. I've liked him ever since he was at Colchester. I think he's one of them players who can play up front and on the right hand side, I believe. But
yeah, he's definitely going to be the main man for them, though. The number 9.
Oh God, you can see. I can see. He's one of these players. Once he gets a taste for scoring, he won't lose it. I can see this. I can see the fella ending up, I'd say 22, 23 goals, if not more, because he's got that instinct. He has that instinct. But Braintree, it's a good job that they've got the likes of Aldershot and Woking down there, and Truro to a certain extent. But the way Aldershot are leaking goals, as I say, Woking are just the dry toast of the league. Then Braintree will have to get good results against them as well. If they can take advantage of the disadvantages that those teams possess, then that's what will keep them going. But at least there's a couple of wins under the belt, but they have to. I think they'll have to invest in. If they've got any money, Craig, they'll have to put some.
Afraid, mate.
No, and therein lies the problem. But you never know; they might just find a Cairo Lisby, a gem, and then sell him to Peterborough.
Yeah, we haven't dipped in the loan market as much as we usually do, so there's a lot more scope there. I think we've actually only got Frankie Terry, who's jumping out at me on loan at the moment. So there is some scope there if there's someone from Colchester or Cambridge or Luton, their kind of teams we often take loan players from. There might be someone there that's not breaking into their first team that can come and be a bit of magic for us. But yeah. Not all doom and gloom yet. Beat Yeovil Saturday, and 2 wins from 4 would have all took that at the start.
Yeah, exactly. Griff, what was your thoughts on this result, mate?
Yeah, I think Boreham Wood are going to be a typical Luke Garrard side. You know, they're going to be organised. They're going to be hard to beat. Like Tamworth, they're going to rely a lot on their home result, I think. And as both the guys have covered, someone with Luke Norris up front is always going to score your goals. Braintree, obviously, 3 penalties in 3 games, getting people sent off. You face a bit of an uphill task straight away, don't you? And losing someone like Lisby up front is always going to be a tough one to take at this level. So I still think Braintree will be all right. I think there's worse teams in the league.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, Braintree are a similar sized team to the Moors. You know, so I always look at it and hope they do well. And, you know, without being rude, I hope the big boys that come down into this division think they're going to bully little old Sully and Braintree, get found out against us. But
well, you've been right so far for us. You've been right so far for us. So.
It's a long old season, so.
But yeah, no, I agree. It's always good to see the underdog doing well. Next, we've got an absolute hammering. Forest Green 4, Sutton United 0. We're going to come straight back to you, Griff. Obviously, Forest Green, I think there was obviously some question marks especially from us on the podcast around Robbie Savage, how it would work, but they've got off to a flying start pretty much. Hammering teams like Sutton that are obviously a decent side themselves. What did you make of this one?
I fully expected Forest Green to win. 4-0, I was surprised about. Obviously, having seen both teams in our first and second game. Forest Green play some nice stuff. And when they can bring the likes of Christian Doidge and, you know, Nick Houghton coming off the bench, he's just ridiculous. He's a great player. He's got a habit of scoring against us all the time. So, you know, when Savage can get his checkbook out and bring those kind of players in, I expect them to do well. Sutton, I was surprised about them conceding 4 because they defended really well against us. Although, to be honest, we didn't exactly create loads of chances. I thought that was a guaranteed home win. Just surprised at the scoreline, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I was the same. I think we all went for a Forest Green win, but I just think we were surprised in the manner of it. Mark, obviously, we know you're a massive Robbie Savage fan, so we'll come to you next. What did you make of this one, mate?
Credit where credit's due. I mean, Carl McAllister hat-trick. He's one of the players who were there under Cottrell Steve Cottrell last season. Again, yeah, Nick Horton playing. The Mac 3, I heard Trey Pemberton had a great game. He's a good player, Trey Pemberton. You know, I know all about him. Laurent Mendy, once again. But as you say, Christian Doidge is still there, and some people must look at the Forest Green bench and think, "Oh, good grief, they can take one off and put him on." You know. Moore Taylor at the back. I mean, that was one of the re-signings for Forest Green, who they're thanking the lucky stars that he actually re-signed. He's quite the colossus. Sutton, yeah, they did the signings too early. They've just let what potential quality, and I'll keep repeating this, they let the potential quality they could have had walk right in front of them because they did their business early. It's not always a good thing. Not always a good thing at all. It's like going shopping and thinking, aha, I've just managed to get myself a cheap chicken, and then 6 hours later it becomes even cheaper, and it's even better. That's what Sutton have done.
I've got to say, Mark, there was a lad, I don't know if you've seen it on X, that messaged when the predictions went out, kind of a bit disappointed in you for putting them 20th. Well, I think it was about 60 minutes into the game yesterday, he replied to his own tweet saying, maybe Mark was right.
Maybe.
I think I've seen that.
Maybe. The prophecy is spoken, young Neo. Well, yeah, no. They should have set their transfer stall out a hell of a lot more. Well, just spread it out. I mean, it will be a tough season for them. And because of results like that, and they will get hammered because they're going to think, hang on a minute, these players really aren't good enough. We're going to have to replace them again. But all all the good ones are gone. All the good ones are gone. You know, it's not always the best idea, but then again, you're coming up against the Forest Green team who, you know, they've spent money. You know, I'm not going to go on about that because I heard it all the time at Mac. Your budget's this, your budget's that, budget smudge it. But when you bring in quality, you're going to get quality results. And I can't fault Forest Green, as much as I'd like to.
Yeah, I think they've had it. I think they've been solid, and I think obviously you said about Sutton business and that. You know, only time will tell with that. You know, over the course of the season.
It's beginning to show, Dan. It's beginning to show.
Yeah.
It really. I mean, I will say this about, you know, they should have gone back for Donovan Wilson, a guy who can score them goals, but they let him pass them by, and that's the mistake that they made. They let players like that pass them by, and it could cost them in the end.
Yeah. No, I agree, mate. Craig, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, Forest Green have got the three things every football club want at the minute. They've got confidence, they've got momentum, and they've got togetherness. And for that, you can't ask any more than that. The fans seem to have bought into Savage. There seems to be a real tight-knitness there, but they've got such a big squad. Will it be able to last if when players are not getting the minutes they feel like they deserve? But at the moment, it's going really, really well. Somehow they didn't beat Solihull on opening day. I think nine times out of 100, I'm sure Griff will agree, they probably do win that game. Mm-hmm. So they should probably be 9 from 9. But 7 from 9, great start. Savage has got the ball rolling there. And again, a few of us said sat by Christmas, so we might be in humble pie on that one. But things can change in football really, really quickly. Sutton, I love Mark, but I would have to disagree with him. I think they've had a very tough start. They got something from York, which people weren't expecting. They've gone to Forest Green on a Wednesday night, and unfortunately they've come undone. But that's not going to be a defining factor of their season. That they will do well. They will do all right. I've still got faith in them being in and around the playoffs, similar to Solihull in that sense, where I've put Sutton. I just think that Forest Green, maybe we slept on them a bit too much, rather than how poor Sutton will be. They'd chalk that one off, write it off, go again at the weekends.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree 100%. Next game, we've got Rochdale-Gateshead, which was another one-sided affair, shall we say. Everyone knows I'm the chairman of the Manny D fan club. I picked him at the start of the season to do well. Got a goal and assist in the first half last night, and then probably just put his feet up in the second half and had a chill out and let Devante Rodney take over in the second half. Mark, what did you make of this one, mate?
Fantastic. You know, the sides are there to be beaten. I mean, Gateshead had a great result on Saturday, but when you've got dear old Manny D to contend with, and then you've got to face a player like Sam Beckwith at the back as well. And yeah, Devante Rodney as well, you know, doesn't get the credit he deserves, but gets the goals he deserves. And Rochdale are looking real good. Jimmy McNulty, will he hold it there though? Can he keep it there?
I've seen a few people commenting about that, saying when it gets tough, sometimes he goes missing.
Oh yeah, it just falls to pieces sometimes. I mean, you can refer back to the Southend playoff game. You're 3-0 up, but I believe now they've got the firepower. They've got Oliver Watmuff in goal. You know, a very bright future for him when he eventually gets sold for £15 million from Manchester City with a 20 million return clause, as is per normal. Because that's the way it works. God dear. But yeah, Rochdale looking real good. Real good. Gateshead. I don't know. It's going to be so tough for Gateshead through no fault of their own. You know, they were promised gold, and it turns out to be Terry's all gold.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I have with Gateshead is because they play a distinct style of football, there'll be some weeks where it'll come off and they'll win comfortably, and there'll be other weeks where they'll go and get picked off by better teams, like they have with Southend so far, with Rochdale so far. But they will pick up results here and there as well. So
But they
I
have
do worry.
beaten Eastleigh.
Yeah, exactly. So
They have
there will be
beaten Eastleigh,
games.
so
There will be games.
yeah, they've just got to look for that. If Dominic Telford can get going with the goals, then it shouldn't be too hard. But is it a bridge too far with basically their plans for this season being taken away with the takeover not going through? They've had to rethink absolutely everything. And, well, no.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see,
Yeah.
mate. Craig, what did you make of this one, mate?
Perfect start for Rochdale. They've had the test at Altrincham where they had to show a bit of character. They've had the statement performance against Gateshead today. Thank God for the performance against Eastleigh for Gateshead, or they'd be getting spoken about in the same bracket as Aldershot and Woking right now. So, good start. Well, perfect start for Rochdale, and I think it shows, probably putting Forest Green in this mix as well, that there's quite a big gulf between 5 teams and potentially the rest of the league.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Griff, anything you want to add on that one, mate?
No, I totally agree with the boys. Rochdale was strong last season. The 2 guys they brought in, Manny D and Mancini from Hartlepool, are good signings. Gates had a feel for it. Just seems like there's no direction of the club at the minute. They've lost, when you lose the likes of Greg Ollie, Ben Werman to ourselves, you're going to struggle. They've still got the issues with the ground. I spoke to a lot of their fans when we played them in the FA Trophy the season before. I think they might be a surprise struggle if they don't get something sorted fast.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I think they might struggle this season. Like I say, because of the way they play, I think they'll get found out against better teams in a lot of games. Next game, we've got Southend 0, York 0. I think pretty much everybody thought this had a draw written all over it. We were kind of right, but I don't think anyone really expected it to be 0-0. Griff, I'll come straight back to you, mate. What did you make of this one?
I think you're right. I think everyone had it down as a draw. I was surprised it was a 0-0 draw. I thought, especially with York's firepower, we'd see some goals. But I think, both teams are going to be up and round there come the end of the season. York have recruited well and seem to be splashing the cash. I do like Mayer at Southend as a manager, so I think they'll be there and thereabouts. But yeah, I think it was a nailed-on draw. Just surprised there were no goals.
Yeah, I think both teams would have been happy with the draw as well, to be fair. Not losing that game is massive for both of them. Mark, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, scoreline was very surprising. We all said it was going to be a draw, but a 0-0 between two of those sides, especially because you've got goal scoring fullback in Gus Scott Morris. Harry Boys, I'm sure, will want to compete with that. Josh Stones, Ollie Pearce, Alex Newby, Ollie Banks. Yeah, just very surprising that it did finish 0-0 against 2 of the clubs who are going to be in that top 4. So I just hope certain set of fans are happy with that analysis.
I mean, I feel like we're probably public enemy number 1 in the certain fan base. I mean, I'm not fussed, to be fair. I mean, we've talked glowingly about them since the start of the season.
I've lost sleep about better things, I have to say.
Craig, anything you wanted to add on that one, mate?
Yeah, I think a draw was a fair result. I think a draw between 2 of the bigger teams in the league, 2 of the teams who expected to be up there very early in the season, probably just playing a little bit of cat and mouse, trying to work each other out, work out where they're going to be. Probably a better point for York being the away side, but ultimately a point apiece was probably fair. York obviously not playing at the weekend, so it will be interesting for them come Monday how far adrift they are of a team like Rochdale, because I believe they're on 5 points at the moment, York.
Yeah, same as Carlisle.
Yeah, so could potentially be 7 behind come the end of Saturday. Doesn't mean I'm ruling them out of anything, but that just creates the pressure on them a little bit more. But a good point for them nonetheless, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I watched the game. I thought Ollie Banks played well, hit the bar, absolutely crashed the bar. I'm convinced the goal's probably still shaking now. Charlie Kendall for Southend, I thought was a threat constantly. but the defence won. The defence both defences were solid. Like I say, and when they were breached, it was the woodwork that came to the rescue. So I think that was a fair assessment. Yeovil 2, Brackley 1 to finish. Ethan will be happy with this one. Yeovil getting their first goals of the season. And obviously getting the first 3 points of the season as well. So, Craig, I'll come to you first, mate. What did you make of this one?
Yeah, obviously Yeovil got away to a fairly disappointing start, drawing with Hartlepool, but as Hartlepool progressing, that doesn't look like the worst result. And then obviously losing their second game. When you're at home against a team that's expected to be down there, you have to find a way to win. Were they vintage yesterday? Absolutely not. Did they find a way to win? Absolutely. Good enough for me. You get 5-6 of them a season at home against the teams around you, you're going to be delighted. So don't read too much into it. Hope they have a setback on Saturday as they come to Braintree, but a good way to get off the mark for them with a home win, couple of goals. Disappointing they conceded late for them. They didn't walk away with a clean sheet because from what I heard, Jed Ward again, I've called him the best goalie in the league myself. That's my competition to Halifax's Sam Johnson. So for him, apparently kept them in it early doors and then they kind of took over and won the game. So yeah, good win for them. Brackley will be disappointed because they seem to have started quite well, good performances, but couldn't turn it into a result. And ultimately, this is a results business, but nothing to worry about there. They got their win against Eastleigh on opening day, so they're not in the worst position.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Griff, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, I agree with Craig. I fully expected Yeovil to win. Again, I think they're going to be kind of mid-table, kind of top half of the table that rely on getting a lot of points at home. Brackley, I saw Gav came in the last game of the Moor season last season after they got promoted. He knows they're going to be in for a tough ride, part-time. I think they've recruited well. The likes of Michael Nottingham coming in, who's ex-Moors and been playing up in Scotland. They've just brought a lad in from Oldham, whose name escapes me. Is it Oldham or Chesterfield? They've just brought in another centre half.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Name's totally gone.
It's not jumping out to me, I'm afraid.
No.
It will about 2:00 in the morning probably jump out.
Yeah. It's going to be the first thing I look up when I've logged off from.
We'll drop it in the comments.
Yes, I think Brackley are going to struggle. Unfortunately, I think scoring goals might be their issue. I think they won't concede many, but I think scoring goals might be the problem. But all the best soon because Gav came in their manager. He was a great player for the Moors, and he's a real top bloke who just loves football. And another one, he'd stand there talking to you all day about it, really accessible and an amiable bloke. So, yeah, good luck to Brackley, but fair play to Yeovil for getting the result.
Yeah, and then Mark, will come to you, obviously, before we move on to the predictions for the next round of games. What did you make of this one, mate?
Yeovil needed something and they got it. It's I think Ethan, when Ethan was on with us, he went on about Yeovil not starting the best, but it has to end at some point with, and they've got some good quality players. Brackley, they will struggle again. Danny Newton, they'll miss him scoring. George Carlisle as well, the right back who was in the National League North Team of the Year, they will miss him. Well, I know Michael Nottingham signed as Griff pointed out, but Carlisle was the right back of the year for a reason because he's that good. But no, off to a good start, and let's see what the Yeovil fans make of Mark Cooper. He seems to be the West Country's Matt Taylor.
Yeah, Ethan mentioned that when he was last on the show. A bit divisive again, the manager's opinions on him. So, yeah, but that obviously covers the midweek games pretty nicely. We're going to move on. We'll quickly do our predictions for the weekend, for Saturday. We'll go around. We'll just quickly do them and, see how similar we are. But we'll get Craig to talk you through what the scores are so far before we start.
No problem.
Sorry, can I just interrupt? It's Bailey Hobson they've signed from Chesterfield.
Bailey
Sorry,
Hobson.
it's too made. Sorry
Thorough,
to
I
take
love
over,
it.
but I wouldn't have
That's
said
all right. That's all right, mate. Well done. Well done for working that out.
Yeah,
Got
so
to
with the
reward it.
predictions, the scores last week were Ethan, our guest from Yeovil, had 15 points. Dan was second with 10. Myself with 8, and then Mark with 6. We've only one perfect result, and that was a surprise to the three of us because Ethan went for Wealdstone to win 2-1 at Woking. So he absolutely nailed that one. So credit to him. He's also now flipped the table as well because he's managed to put the guests up to top. They're on 44 points. I'm second in 43. A little bit of a jump down to Dan with 31, and then Mark bringing up the rear with 27. So the pressure's on Griff.
God's sake.
Can he keep the guests at the top of the table?
Yeah.
Well,
So
No
we'll
is
see.
the answer to that. No, let's just get it out of the way. No,
me
not
and
going to
Mark's in a
happen.
relegation scrap. Me and Mark's in a
Oh,
relegation
God.
scrap. We're Truro and Brackley. We're in a relegation scrap.
I've got more
Um,
chance of being mistaken for Brad Pitt.
so yeah, so like I said, we'll do it in order. Obviously, the half 12 games, Morecambe, Altrincham. So we'll do that first. We'll go around. Craig, what have you got for this one?
Yeah, difficult one. Obviously, as we are recording on Thursday night, Morecambe probably have just got about enough players to field a squad. But whether they've trained together before we've had this, if they have, they'd have probably trained once, twice before Saturday. So, and to be honest, I think the scoreline's irrelevant in this game. It's just celebrating the fact Morecambe's back. But we've got to put one in the predictions. I think they will score, but I'm going to be quite heavily pessimistic for the actual result, and I'm going to go 4-1 to Altrincham.
Oh wow. Griff, what have you got for yours, mate?
No, I haven't done any preparation for this because I didn't realise we did predictions. So I'll give it a go.
You can't do
Yeah,
any worse than me, mate. Don't worry.
I
Oh,
think
you can.
Craig summed it up really well there. It's great to see Morecambe are going to be able to start the season, but they're going to get a three-bed squad out. I don't even think insurance is in place so they can train. So unless they've been kicking about on a park somewhere, they're going to struggle. I've got it. What am I going to go? I'll go 3-1 Altrincham.
Yeah, I've got 2-1 Altrincham. I'd love to believe in the fairy tale and Morecambe are going to come back and win. And, I did want to do that, but I'm so far down the table, I've got to go with my head and not my heart. I did want to predict the Morecambe win, but I really think it's unlikely. Mark, what have you got for yours?
Going to be a big day. Good old party atmosphere. Hopefully, going to be a massive, sell-out crowd at the Mazuma Stadium. There can only be one result on Saturday, and that's 2-0 Altrincham.
Oh, you had me believing there, Mark. I thought you were going to say a 1-0 Morecambe.
Oh, no.
Brackley, Rochdale next. Griff, I'll come to you first for this one, mate. What have you got?
I can only see one winner in this, and that's Rochdale. I'll go 2-0 Rochdale, I think.
Yeah, I've got 3-1 Rochdale for mine. Again, just kind of see one winner, but I think Brackley might score. Craig, what have you got for yours?
I agree with Griff. 2-0 Rochdale.
Mark?
Going to go 3-0 Rochdale and the first hat-trick of the season for Manny D. Braintree.
Yeah. Braintree, Yeovil. Mark, what have you got for this one?
Yeovil doing well in midweek. 1-0.
1-1. Craig, what have you got for this one, mate?
Home form's massive for us. Yeovil, I can't remember the last time we beat them. To be fair, it's been a while. Obviously, we came up together. They beat us that year, home and away. They beat us last year, home and away. This is the time. 1-0 Braintree.
I second that, Craig. I've got 1-0 Braintree as well. That's probably not a good sign for you guys, mind that I've predicted that. Sorry. Griff, what have you got for that one, mate?
Yeah, again, apologies to Craig. I'm going to say Braintree will nick that one 2-1.
Yeah. Next, we've got Eastleigh-Boston. I'll go first, just so it looks like I'm not copying people's answers or anything. I've got 1-1 in this one. Eastleigh-Boston. Mark, what have you got for this one?
2-1 Boston.
Griff, what have you got for this one, mate?
I'm going to go 1-0 Eastleigh.
1-0 Eastleigh. And Craig?
In the last 30 seconds, I've gone between Eastleigh and Boston, so I'm going to go right and sit myself next to you on that fence with a 1-1.
Yeah, sit firmly on the fence. Halifax Forest Green next. Griff, what have you got for this one?
I think it'll be an away win. I think Forest Green will nick it. I think it'll be a close game, actually. I think Forest Green will nick it 2-1.
Yeah, I've got 2-1 Forest Green as well for this one. Again, I think it'll be a close game, but I think Forest Green have got that quality that we've talked about off the bench and things that could win it. Mark, what have you got for this one?
Oh, this is a gritty teeth one, but 2-0 Forest Green.
Craig?
I haven't moved off that fence. 1-1.
Next, we've got another one for teams that are obviously tipped to struggle this season, which is Gateshead Tamworth. This was a tough one to call for me. I didn't know what to do, but I've gone 2-1 Gateshead. Again, it might just be one of them games where it suits the way they play, and they might deal well with the long throw. Who knows? Craig, what have you got for this one?
Yeah, contrasting styles in this one, really.
Yeah.
If in doubt, back the home team 2-1.
Yeah. Mark?
1-0 Tamworth. Tom Tonks with the lethal weapon.
Yeah. Griff, what have you got for this one?
My turn to take the seat on the fence on this one. I'm going to go 1-1.
Yeah, right, okay. We've got Hartlepool Woking next. Mark, what have you got for this one?
Oh, it's 3-0 Hartlepool. Woking, as I say, dry toast.
Griff?
Yeah, agree with Mark. I'll go 2-0.
Yeah, I've got 2-0 Hartlepool as well, Craig. Craig, what have you got for this one?
Yeah, so this is going to be a unanimous Hartlepool win. So I'm going to do a Dan here and say Woking are going to get their 3 points, but I can't predict them. So I'm going 1-0 Hartlepool.
Yeah, there'll be 1-0 the other way.
Yeah.
Obviously, this will come to Griff first on this one. Solihull Moors at home to Aldershot. Silly question, but what are you expecting?
You never know with the Moors. If we put a shift in like we did on Tuesday, and given all the shots woes at the back, I'm going to say we're going to nick it 2-0.
Yeah, I've got 2-1 just because of Aldershot's habit of scoring at some point.
Score, to be honest.
I was going to say 3-2, but then I didn't know if potentially he's had 3 goals in you because you said that earlier on.
I don't think the arse would take that, to be honest. At the minute.
Yeah, but just Aldershot's track record. Craig, what have you got for this one?
I've gone for the 3-2. So it will not happen 4 times in a row, but if it does, I want to be on that ride. 3-2.
Yeah. Mark?
2-0 to Solihull, and Dan Creaney will get 2 of those.
Sutton versus Scunthorpe. Griff, what have you got for this one?
Oh, that's a tough one, that is. I think they'll be both evenly matched, to be honest. Sutton are strong at home. Scunthorpe have started well. 1-1.
I'm coming on that fence with Griff. I've got 1-1 as well. Stay on that fence. Mark?
2-1 Scunthorpe. If Whitehall and Roberts aren't there, they can rely on Declan House. So yeah, 2-1 Scunthorpe.
Craig?
Slightly higher fence than you two. 2-2.
Yeah, I mean, we'll all get comfortable on that fence somewhere. But yeah, next we'll come to Mark first, seeing as Mark's the spokesman for Truro. Truro at home to Southend.
Oh boy! Oh, I'm so sorry, John, but 2-0 Southend.
I've got 2-0 Southend as well. Craig?
2-0 Southend.
Oh, full house maybe, Griff?
I have 2-0 Southend, but I've got to switch it up, so I'll let Truro nick one and go 2-1 Southend.
I was going to say, I think that'd be the first time ever we've had we'd have had a full unanimous scoreline. Yeah, and then last is the late kickoff, which is Wealdstone against Carlisle. I'll go first. I'm going 1-0 Wealdstone. Sorry, I worry about us, especially going up there when they're riding a wave. 3 wins out of 3, I worry for us a little bit.
What
But I think it'll be
when you get back home on Monday, mate?
I'm already worried what stick I'm going to get on social media for predicting us to lose. But yeah, hopefully it's a reverse psychology thing, like Max Kretschmar said in the group chat earlier on. Griff, what have you got for this one?
Unfortunately for Wealdstone fans, I think their run comes to an end there, and I think you'll get a reaction out of the Carlisle team. I'll go 2-1 Carlisle.
Mark?
2-2.
Craig?
Wealdstone start on fire, taking a lead. The depth and quality of your strike force will lead you to a 3-1 victory. 3-1 Carlisle.
I mean, I hope you're all closer than I am.
I mean, if I was predicting your games, though, you'd be on 9 points so far, mate. So don't know a lot. So
yeah, I mean, that's why I've changed it up, because I've came on here predicted us to win the league. I've predicted us to win every game so far, and I've barely got any of them right so far. So we'll see. But yeah, obviously that's it from us. It's been another long one, but we've covered all the games, we've covered all the teams. Thanks to Griff from Solihull Moors for coming on. Where can we find you? Where can we follow you on social media, mate?
So the podcast is Moors to the Point, and my ex-handle is @MoorsGriff. As I say, I haven't got a massive social media thing because it is just a bit of fun for local fans. But
just in case anyone wants to head over.
You never know. If I'm allowed back, I'll come back on and I'll be able to give you an update.
Yeah, great.
Come back anytime, Griff.
Yeah, thanks very much, mate. And obviously, thanks as always to Craig and Mark for joining us and giving us their expert opinion as well. And we'll see you again next time. Take care, everyone.
Cool. Cheers, all.